Great. So, good afternoon, Cheanu.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. It's a little bit warm and sunny over here, but I'm okay. I'm used to the weather.
Yeah, that's lovely. I mean, it's a bit humid here in Singapore too, but we're all getting by at this time. And we discussed earlier, right, how it would be to have fun in Bali right now.
Oh yeah.
Sessions going on.
Oh yeah. How nice if you can travel again safely without face mask.
Hopefully, that becomes a reality in a year or two at least.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. So, without much further ado, Cheanu, well, I would like to really thank you for coming on board our hashtag Prepare Mondays. We have done a couple of sessions with other coaches already right now, and it's all about getting the week right. When we have that, in order for us to build an optimal week of performance, whether it's in our personal or professional lives, it's always the inspirations and snippets that we get around us. Yeah. So this hashtag Prepare Mondays is to motivate the financial consultants and agency leaders, and with the help and support of mentors and coaches such as yourself, where you can sort of guide them and elevate them to dig deep from within and move forward with the experiences that you have, as well as what you have created for them, for the financial consultants and agency leaders. Yeah. So perhaps we could start off, Cheanu. So tell us a bit more about yourself, how you got into this, and what you do.
Right. Thanks for getting me on board. It's Gumaran. It's really nice to be spending time with you and our audience here. My name is Cheanu. I have been working as an accountant before, an auditor, and a banker, insurance agent. So anything to do with financial. Before I made the huge jump to quit everything and went into network marketing full time. Now, network marketing is a term that is more popularly used in the Western world. Over here in Asia, it's more well known as multi-level marketing or MLM. So I made that jump from a corporate professional to full-time MLM when I was 25.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a huge decision because of the stigma that the society still have around this industry. But because of my professional background, I refused to get into this industry using the outdated techniques of ambushing your friends. Say, hey, come on, long time no see, let's meet up for a tea. And then, suddenly I will be bringing some strangers, which I want to introduce to you. I refuse to use tactics like that. So it kind of like forced me to create what else can we do, as professionals in MLM to do it professionally. So I have started developing those approaches, try and error and refining it. So it's been about 16 years now. I'm still very active in this industry. So it was the pandemic last year. It was the pandemic last year when most of the countries were in lockdown, that a lot of my friends who are in different MLM companies, we are friends. We buy from each other. They are building their teams in different companies. They started asking me and say, hey, Cheanu, I've seen that you are very active on social media, very engaging. Your contents are very engaging and attracting a lot of eyeballs. So, do you have any tips? How can we do MLM in this new norm? Because most of them were kind of like stuck, because before COVID, they were doing a lot of hotel seminars, group presentations, or product demonstration. So when everyone has to stay at home, they didn't know how to do it. The nearest they could go was call all your friends, get them all onto a Zoom call, we do a group presentation. But very quickly, they found out that it's really not effective at all. Okay, and people don't jump on Zoom call for nothing. So they asked me for tips, and I shared some with them, and then they started applying those things and say, hey, I think it works. So they want to get their downlines to join in, for me to share more tips. I say, well, hold on, if you guys are doing this in the long run, I don't think I can catch up, So why don't you give me some time? I consolidate all the things that I want to share, and then I, just do a webinar and stuff. So I ran about 40 over webinars for free last year, and a lot of them came, brought their team member to come and stuff. So the demand was actually started off since then. They say, hey, I think that 1 hour is not enough to cover all the things that we want to learn from you. Mm-hmm. So it slowly developed into a 7 weeks course. So back to coaching, it has been my passion. I've been coaching people on a personal basis, on a professional basis for as long as I can remember. I think about 20 over years. So that's how I developed this coaching program for MLMers. But then one thing leads to another. Some of my friends who are sales trainer, who are personal branding coaches, they say, hey, I think whatever you teach is not just only applicable to MLMers, because what I teach is not recruitment. Like you go prospecting, you find 5, then they find 5. Those are not what I teach. Those you can learn from your company on your upline. Right. So what I teach is more on building your authority as a market leader, as a thought leader, as a spokesperson for your industry, for your niche. So that's why my friends who are sales trainer, who are branding coach, they say, hey, I think you can use this knowledge that you have and help people from other industry as well. So I say, yeah, maybe I can just strip off that like 10% of MLM specific content, and the other 90% is still very much applicable. And when I started exploring, okay, so which kind of niche that I can serve, who might need this kind of coaching, and then I received your email. Isn't that wonderful?
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that thought attracts what we want, right?
Yes. So I'm really happy to have the opportunity to work with them, because they are top notch in their own forte. We all serve very different niche, but I'm sure when we cross path, we can create another niche and serve more people.
I agree, absolutely, Cheanu. Just that thought, right? When you said that you mix things up with what you talk for the MLMers towards the insurance industry, even sales professionals, there is always that one core thing which is unique, which is again networking, which you spoke about earlier.
Networking, definitely.
How does networking change? How has it changed now with the advent and the new norm of digital meetings, such as facilities using Zoom and all of that? How does an agent or an agency leader then get into a new style of networking at this stage?
Yeah. Now, networking, pre-COVID, networking was very much linked to the idea of attending events, shaking hands, giving out name cards, collecting name cards, right? And doing some pitching. They do teach you something like elevator pitch, how to get the maximum airtime, maximum content out of your short airtime, and speak to as many people as possible and collect name cards. So let me ask you a question. What do people do with the name cards that they get?
They just store them, right?
Exactly. Right. So at most, they look at the name card for like a few seconds.
Yeah.
Right. But I do see some networkers, they actually go the extra mile. When they collect a name card, they actually make a mental note on that person who gave them the name card.
Yeah.
So after the conversation, when they turn away, they quickly write down notes, either on the name card itself or on a sticky note that sticks on the name card, okay, of some of the special characteristics of this person. Okay, tall, short, orange tie, red hat, spoke about Manchester United, let's say, so all the special notes of this person. And as he go about throughout the whole networking, he collected a stack of cards and a stack of notes besides the cards. So what he did when he reached home, instead of chucking it all, he will enter all these name cards with their personal notes into his own database. And it can be as simple as just an Excel spreadsheet. So what it does is that he will contact all those people within the next 24 hours.
Yeah, that's
right?
the time frame. Yes, correct.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
But before the 24 hours came, he will send all of them a text message thanking them for being there. And the text message is not a copy and paste text message. It's like, hey, Kumaran, really enjoyed chatting with you just now. And, since you mentioned about Manchester United, here's an interesting article I found about Manchester United. And he actually, even if he's not a Manchester United fan, he will do that.
Right.
All right, saying, hey, I think you'll be interested in this. So the other person will get a different article or different sharing or whatsoever that speaks to their interest. So this person, what he has done is to tattoo his name into the minds of other people on top of the stack of name cards that they received. Right. So that's what we call visibility.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to networking, number one, you have to have a strategy for visibility. Okay, people has to remember you, not just for your name and what you do, but how you make them feel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so visibility. So this networker has done that. So that's a follow-up message. That's a very personalized follow-up message. Okay, and then in the next 24 hours is they try to arrange for a meetup because in a networking event it's like a fish net in the ocean. So now you're going for specific. So then in the next 24 hours, they say, hey, let's drop by for a coffee. Pre-COVID, we can still meet up for coffee, right? I'll be around in your office, next week. So wanna catch up for a coffee. So at that moment, that coffee invitation is will meet with lesser resistance.
Yes, that's right.
Right, because of the relationship that's been built.
Yeah.
Okay, so this has not changed, even though we are doing online networking. So the strategy of networking is still, the fundamental of it is still relationship. First of all, is visibility, okay, becoming memorable, and the relationship, okay, nurturing that relationship, continuing that conversation, right? So it used to be phone call and email. Now it can be Zoom call and WhatsApp messages. Okay, doesn't matter the format, but as you can see, the philosophy is still there. The foundation is still there. We talk about visibility. We talk about connection. Okay, building rapport, nurturing the relationship. And if you can meet up when we meet, otherwise you'll be Zoom.
Yeah.
But Kumaran, since you have done so many Zoom meetings with so many people, I'm sure each Zoom meeting is different. For some, even though you are across the screen, you feel like you're close to this person, even though you have not met him in person. And for some Zoom meeting, you feel a bit distant, especially those who turn off their video.
Yeah. That's so true. That's so true.
Yeah. So the relationship part, the nurturing relationship, and the visibility and the building rapport part has not changed. In fact, I believe technology enhances it if we use it correctly. Right. So we can use technology to stay in touch, to keep in touch, to key in more personal notes about this person you're interacting with. Okay. Yes. And when you find something interesting that relates to this group of people, it's easy for you to send information to them instead of putting them in your email list, and send newsletter. I'm not saying that it doesn't work, but the messaging apps makes things more personal.
Agreed, absolutely. Thank you for that, Cheanu. I noticed one part, right, when there is a link between every single step and stage. And there is that interesting part when, now of course, when we are doing such Zoom sessions, right, taking down notes is so critical. I do it too. Whenever I have a conversation with you or anyone else, there is always notes which are then scribbled on, but then I would know and take 5 to 10 minutes post-Zoom meeting to take a deep breath, get it all in, recap what we conversed about, and look at the possible points that we can elevate. That's an interesting part that you mentioned. It has not changed yet. Live networking, the steps as opposed to Zoom networking. But most financial consultants and agency leaders, I feel, to a certain extent, they miss a step or two. And how important is that, or how detrimental is it when you miss a particular step in this line of networking?
Okay. I would say if you miss a step or two, take it as, if you're aware, that you have missed a step or two, take it as a learning point, okay? Because we can always improve, can always take in what works, what doesn't work, and reinvent. The problem is when they're not aware that they have missed certain steps. Okay, because when they don't know what they don't know, how are they going to even start improving?
Yeah, where do you know where you've got wrong, right? You wouldn't know.
Correct. And that is where coaches come in.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
That is why even Tiger Woods need a coach. Even Cristiano Ronaldo as a coach. Okay, the coach doesn't mean someone who is better than them, but a coach can point out to them what they're missing in their blind spots.
That's right. Got you.
So,
On that note, that's so true. On that note, when we get into the process of coaching or the methods, right, Cheanu, where does your angle come into play? Or what are your steps and methods that you employ when you work with financial consultants or agency leaders or even sales professionals?
I do have an array of coaching methods because I do believe that every person learns differently. And there is really no one size that fits all when it comes to coaching, or even when it comes to teaching. Okay, so coaching is actually an extension of teaching. In fact, it's much deeper than teaching. So even if it is teaching, you can't expect all your participants or your students to learn at the same pace with the same style. So what more coaching, right? So coaching for me, it will be to first establish a connection with them, to deeply understand their situation, their goals, right? The main challenges, and most importantly, the level of awareness. How much are they aware of what is stopping them from achieving what they want? Okay,
right.
In fact, that is just one part of it. Another layer of awareness is to be aware of what they want. You'll be surprised how many people don't actually know what they want.
Yeah.
They're just repeating the mantra of what they think others think that they want. Okay. So you really ask them what you want, they can't answer you. So that would be the first step. That is the tip of the iceberg. So see, again, everyone has a different level of awareness in different layers. Awareness of what they want, awareness of are they clear on the steps of getting there. Some don't even have a plan. For some who do know what they want and do have a plan, they are not aware of what's stopping them. Okay, what's in their blind spots. So you see, everyone has different layers of awareness or non-awareness. So my style is very, very, very much individualistic.
Right.
Okay, it's like I got to know this person, to find out what's the blockage, right? Then we can talk about a strategy.
Right.
Okay. Yeah,
I agree with you. That's where we spoke many times about patterns and the perception of their patterns of themselves and what others perceive of them. That's a very interesting thing to break through before we even get into the first stage of coaching and mentoring, I believe, right? In your experience, right, Cheanu, I'm sure you've met a lot of people. In any interesting story that comes to your mind, any interesting experience with a mentee, someone you have coached, something that stands out in the past few years?
Well, that would be the most recent one. This lady came to me and she said, I just joined this MLM business for 2 months, and it's my very, very, very first MLM venture. I have no experience at all, and I'm very blurred. Okay, so can you coach me? Then I say, okay, but we got to first establish what you want. All right. So, I mean, can you coach me is a very broad question. So once we establish what does she want, she actually wants very simple stuff, which is to survive 2 months being in a business, because she always think that she can't survive through 2 months. And I say, why do you think that you can't survive 2 months? Because she had the idea that doing MLM, you have to be very hard selling, you have to be very thick skin,
right,
and you have to be meeting people, and you gotta be thick skin enough to get rejection like like 50 rejections a day. You know, I think she got that idea from her upline who, you know, like who made it in the 70s or 80s. You know, so yes, those are the styles that they used back then. We call it cold calling,
Correct.
right? So I say, okay. Then I ask her, I say, so if you had that idea that for you to succeed in MLM, you have to do all those things, and you are thinking that you can't survive for 2 months, then why did you join 2 months earlier? Then she told me about her dream, her goals, and somehow she felt that this vehicle can get her there. But once she jumped on the vehicle, and she saw the perceived strategies, she said, "Oh no, I don't think I can survive." You know, but one big part of her still wants to, let's see how far I can go,
Right.
because you know of the dreams and the goals. So we get out into coaching, and then you know I break some patterns, you know, shift some paradigms and all. So long story short, after she finished our coaching journey of 7 weeks, she break rank in her company, and now she's about to break to the next rank. And all, you know, she did not change her personality, like from introvert to extrovert.
Yes.
Or, you know, from very shy, don't dare to talk to people, to, you know, suddenly hopping on, you know, stuffing her products on other people's face. None of those happen. See, that is how we learn how to use your personal strength with your own personality,
Right.
to make the best of it. Because, you know, like we say, everyone can succeed in MLM, and everyone can succeed in insurance, everyone can succeed in real property. Okay.
Right.
But that does not mean everyone who join will succeed. Right? Those who does, they have a strategy, or they have a coach, or they unlock certain things that you know gave them that access to the path of least resistance.
Yes.
Right? So that's what I did with her. And now she's like really out there, seeing clients every day, not as a force to, doesn't come from that energy.
Yeah.
It comes from, I'm filling up my calendar, and I'm super excited about it.
Right.
You know, so the come from is very different. It's not a have to or force to, but I get to, I'm excited, I get to do this.
That's so amazing. It's so right when you said that, right? That someone is excited when their calendar is filled.
Yes.
You know, activity, and there are so many parallels between any industry, the sales industry and the insurance. There's so much of link between them, so much of synergy between them. And
absolutely,
I really get you when you say that a person has changed, shifted their paradigms completely, and they still remain who they are at the core. Right?
A more efficient version of who they are.
That's right.
That's why they enjoy doing it, because they are still them.
That's true. So true on that. That joy. Then let's talk about that joy and that passion. Very important to you, right?
Yes. Like Marie Kondo would say, does that spark joy?
That's so you just imagine at this kind of uncertain times, Ken, right? We are in such unprecedented times, to be honest, and it doesn't seem to end. There is no end in sight for the time being. Hopefully things shift and change, of course, for the betterment of everybody. But during this period, how can people still ignite and trigger and sustain their passion at times like this?
That's a really good question, Kumaran. In fact, I just posted that on my LinkedIn last week. You know, I started my post with the question, does the advice follow your passion still work? And I got a lot of different feedback on that post, you know, because everybody has different idea. So the main angle of my post on LinkedIn was this: when people say follow your passion, okay, what does that really mean, and how can we really use it to our advantage? So it really boils down to where you at right now at your career or in life in general. Because for some people, they are clear of what their passion is,
right?
And they know no matter how hard things are, I will still pursue this because it's my passion. It pumps me up. All right. For some people, it will be teaching. For some, will be baking. For some, will be doing sales. Okay. anything at all. So when they wake up, they can't wait to start their day and go straight into doing those things. So they're very clear. That's their passion.
Right.
And even if you were to offer them a salary to do a different job, with the promise of a fixed salary, there's a security there, and there's some financial predictability. They would probably say no, because that's not what they live to do. You get what I'm saying? So that's passion. They would rather reject that opportunity because they can do this, and they know they're going to spend their life doing this. So for those people, all they need to figure out is to strategize how to monetize their passion, and that's it. Okay. Now, having said that, not everyone is at that level. Okay. For a lot of people, when you ask them what's their passion, they are actually not very clear with that. They think they know what their passion is, but as you ask deeper, you found out that it's not actually their passion, it's probably their hobby or their interest.
Right.
And that's where the danger is, when someone mistaken their interest as passion and say, oh, I'm following my passion. But interest comes and go, especially when you are, like you say, in terms of pandemic, when predictability is out of the window, right? We need a plan. We need a solid plan. So does it really still fit in this era, to follow your passion? I would say for the first group that I mentioned just now, yeah, they're clear of their passion. They just need to find a way to monetize it and still do it in the new norm. But what about those who still haven't figured out their passion, or they found out that their passion has somehow diminished, okay, and now they need to survive through the pandemic first without talking about a passion? So the second best option, if they are not following the passion, I would say, to the contrary of a lot of people, follow the money.
Right.
Okay, because that is what practical first. I mean, you got to look at what gives you the return to stay afloat, okay, to feed your family, even if it is driving a Grab, and you have to,
Right.
okay.
Right.
So you follow the money so that you can stay afloat and you can get your basic expenses covered. Then and only then you will have that freedom of your mind space to really think about what else can I do long term. That is where you go with your passion. Okay, so that's a really great question there, because follow your passion.
Yeah,
it's easy when time is good.
Yes, right. You're so spot on that, Cheanu. Thank you for explaining that, because it does bring into, puts into perspective many things. The reality check of it all, right? And, if we question ourselves, yes, I'm passionate about sales, I'm passionate about insurance, this is what I'm meant to do, fine and dandy, of course, if things are good, as you mentioned. And then that question has to be asked. One has to ask themselves that question. Now, things are bad. Is this really a passion, or was it just for my sustenance?
Yes.
Right? And
yes.
What happens if someone suddenly says, okay, well, this is really not my passion. It is just what I was doing for a living. It's completely different, right? So what would your advice be then? At times like this, same thing, Cheanu, lots of rookies got into this industry in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Right? When things were going fine, and maybe when no one knew this was going to come about in early 2020 or late 2019, and they got into the industry, right, with such gusto, such motivation and energy. Now they might be slouching. They might not be in the best of their positions, right? They might have a lot of issues prospecting, networking, even for that matter. What would your advice be to these group of individuals out there, the rookie financial consultants, rookie agency leaders who have taken that bold step to move up into leadership at this time? What would your words of wisdom or pearls of wisdom be for these individuals?
Well, if they are stuck in that situation, I think you can call it a very sticky situation, because either way, it looks like you can't get the best of both worlds. But if you're already in that situation, and from your own calculation and computation of the the cost and benefits and rewards and pain, and you still see that continuing to pursue this line, as the agency leader or as a financial planner, can still give you that financial stability, right? Then I say go with your commitment first, commit to it, and find your passion along the way. There must be certain thing within the industry that you can be passionate about. It's just that you haven't seen it yet.
I agree.
Okay, so it can be serving clients so well that they starting to refer people to you. You might be really happy with that, and your passion is building long-lasting relationship. But that can't happen when you don't have a client, right? So, or it could be your passion is one day you're going to stand on stage and deliver training, such so impactful training that you inspire people, and to have someone come to you and say, thank you for the session, because before I came to a session, I was really thinking of quitting this whole industry, but because of what you shared on stage, I renew my vow. Right. So some people might be passionate in generating that kind of experience. But again, if you don't have result, you can't be there.
Right.
So, sometimes, whatever that you might be passionate about, it's there, lying ahead, but you can't see it yet because you are not, you haven't gone through your first mountain yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So once you climb the first mountain, you start to see a broader view. Say, yeah, that's my passion. I'm gonna climb that mountain now. But now you're focusing on climbing this mountain and you say, oh, I don't think I like hiking. But really, when you get to the top of that first mountain, you will change your mind. So, wow, the view is fantastic. I'm gonna climb the next one. So trust the process, because once you're there, you will see things differently. Now you can't see it because you are here, not there. Am I making sense?
Absolutely. In complete agreement with that. Trusting the process. That's it, right? And that's so amazing the way you put it, Cheanu. It's that it all is simple. It all is simple. It's just that the way that it has been delivered to the individual, it's different. To him or her, he might have his own journey, his own tools or equipment to trek or climb up that mountain. But the truth of the matter remains that the view, or what is that horizon that is going to come your way when you cross the first one, will give you that motivation to go higher and higher.
Yes.
And that's why there is an addiction to rock climbing and mountaineering, right?
Yes.
It just becomes so much of a passion for them that they are looking forward to the next horizon, what that sunset is going to look like.
Yes. Yes, and when you're at the top of the mountain, looking at the view, somehow you forgot about the hardship of you climbing, or you got injured, or you got your leg stuck in the stream somewhere. All this suddenly will just fade away.
Yeah. I'm with you, and I'm actually getting to relate that to the insurance industry when sales professionals actually do an amazing job. And when they walk out of that particular sales appointment, or even at the point in which they have met with a client who's been with them for 10 years, 15 years, perhaps the first client who supported them in this industry, that trigger for that passion. And maybe 20 years down the road, when they see the client retire and they've got to hand over the maturity check, or when they're saying and reassuring a client, I've got your kids' education funding sorted. Remember, you started this 20 years ago. That is that satisfaction. That to them is that horizon that they see. It is very underrated when they walk out. It's a very lonely perspective to a certain extent. There is no cameras following the financial consultant after 2 hours of presentation.
Yes.
When they come out of it. There is no glory in that moment. No one captures the emotions which are raw. Only he or she would know it. And to be honest with you, what you have just shared with us really is so important to the industry. I'm really thankful for that, Cheanu. Truly, really, really, really impressed by it. At the same time, truly relate to whatever you're saying.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Cheanu, for your wonderful time. And
thanks for having me.
Truly, truly looking forward to working with you further down the road as well. We have got lots of plans coming our way for the Intro Academy as well as for the community of consultants and agency leaders. So very grateful, truly appreciate it, and we shall be connecting soon.
Thank you so much. And I wish you stay safe and stay healthy.
Perfect. Thank you, Cheanu.
You're welcome.